The various provinces in the Netherlands, or the Low Countries, were never really united. They were slowly brought together by the Dukes of Burgundy in the 14th and 15th centuries. The Burgundy dukes weren't really concerned with expansion and centralization, but their successors, the Habsburgs, were. The new Holy Roman Emperor, Charles V, a Habsburg, united the Netherlands into a single entity. Charles V's son, Philip II of Spain, continued his father's work in centralizing the Netherlands. But the nobles of the Low Countries saw the Spanish-born Philip as a foreigner. The nobles thought that governments should be controlled by a prince, the nobility, and the State General. Thus, the nobility should play a larger role in government. Philip required the nobility to swear an oath of allegiance in 1567 to the king, which would force them to renounce their traditional liberties. While many nobles took the oath, some, including one, William the Silent, refused.
I cannot approve of monarchs who want to rule about the conscience of the people and take away their freedom of choice and religion. These disorders cannot be repressed, much less can I punish them, for necessity has no law.
This set into effect the First Dutch Revolt. The lower nobility took action, led mostly by the Protestants. They came together to form the Compromise of the Nobility, with intentions to force Philip's sister, Margaret of Parma, to change the heresy law. They promised violence against her if she refused to change the law. Certain Protestant groups, like the Calvinists, encouraged their followers to destroy religious icons in churches. Margaret eventually agreed to allow Protestants to practice their religion in the Low Countries, but the compromise of the nobility fell apart, leaving no one in control. The destruction of icons continued, and Margaret raised an army to restore order to the provinces.
The Dutch Revolt was a combination of both political, economic, and religious factors. Each group wanted something from the other. The Dutch nobility wanted more power, the lower classes didn't want the Spanish ruling over whatever they sold, and the different religious groups wanted freedom to practice their beliefs.
Once in the Netherlands, the Duke of Alba, Ferdinand Alvarez del Toledo, began rooting up heresy, branding many people as enemies to the Spanish crown. Only the noble who had remained loyal to Philip survived. William the Silent emerged as the leader of the opposition and attempted to invade the Netherlands from Germany, but they were defeated. By 1569, the revolt in the Netherlands had seemed to stop, and the Duke of Alba continued instituting the king's policies in the Netherlands. William the Silent asked France for support, and a rebel army under Louis of the Nassau managed to capture a few towns. The Duke of Alba, however, succeeded in retaking these towns, but the fear of a war where many of William's supporters were split the Spanish leadership, and Philip replaced the Duke of Alba with Don Luis de Requesens. With the Spanish divided, William united the provinces of Holland and Zeeland. The Spanish managed to capture rebel cities, but the costs needed to continue the war were extreme. Due to lack of pay, several Spanish troops mutinied. Philip was on the verge of bankruptcy. He ordered Requesens to negotiate with the rebels, and he met with William. No compromises could be made, however, and the Spanish again didn't pay their soldiers enough, which resulted in another mutiny. Requesens died, and Philip appointed his half-brother, Don Juan of Austria, as the new governor-general in the Netherlands. Don Juan attempted to impose his own authority, which resulted in the Low Countries installing Archduke Matthias as the new governor-general, although this was never recognized by Philip. During this time, Philip had been preoccupied with the threat of the Ottoman Empire, but he still sent troops to the Netherlands to reinstall order. Don Juan died of the plague, and Philip appointed Parma as governor of the Netherlands. The southern provinces, which remained loyal to Spain, formed the Union of Arras, which formed the basis for continued Spanish rule. The northern provinces founded the United Provinces, with William as their leader. William the Silent, however, was assassinated by a royalist, and the United Provinces was left without a leader. With William dead, Parma began a new campaign to conquer the Netherlands. However, an agreement between the Dutch and the English allowed Elizabeth I to send in reinforcements to combat the Spanish and prevent them from capturing the Netherlands in exchange for a governor-general appointed by the Queen for the Netherlands. The Spanish and the Dutch eventually settled on the 12 Years' Truce, which promised peace for 12 years. The Dutch Revolt was one of the first successful secessions in Europe and led to the European Republic of the modern era, the United Provinces. This new republic would become strong through merchant shipping, economic, scientific, and cultural growth, while the south were still controlled by Spain. A truce was put in place to create peace between Spain and the United Provinces, and the Golden